It's time for Who Watch, time and relative blackness in space.
The box.
Hi everyone, it's Bayana, Robin, and Connie coming to you live from the Time Vortex.
Today we're discussing episode 2 of Doctor Who season 10, Smile. In this episode, the Doctor takes Bill on her first proper adventure. Bill learns what the Doctor is all about, and Nardole is blessedly left in the present. Hashtag blessed.
Nardole shade.
Hashtag blessed.
Hashtag mediocre.
They gave him shade in the beginning of the episode. The door, he knocked on the door and the Doctor was like, Mum.
Dude.
And I was like, who?
Literally, like, my heart sank when he showed up.
Until he
showed up and I was like, damn it. I was like, no. And then they left him and I was like, cool, all right. Let's do this.
But I realized that I think I really need to rewatch season 9 and the specials. Because why is he Mom? Mm-hmm. Why can't the Doctor leave Earth?
No,
I don't think I remember any of this.
Because it's not a thing. It's the overarching. I think it's the overarching story.
It's the mystery.
Yeah, I don't think
That's the mystery.
It hasn't. Nothing has happened before that I can remember. That would make him do that.
Who were you telling him?
Yeah.
What did he agree to?
And plus, we don't know how much time it's been.
Episode.
Yeah, we don't know how much time it's been since between the Dr. Mysterio episode and this one. Or between, Clara, him forgetting about Clara in this one. So, at least how much time it's been for him. You know what I mean? I'm thinking that's the big overarching, mystery. What's going on in the vault? And, yeah, we'll see. I hope it's, a good...
Yeah, but I wasn't sure if what's going on in the vault was the same... I know that they kind of connected it, you can't leave Earth. Is it because of the vault? But is Nardole there not then as a pet, but as, a prison guard?
Right. I wonder if...
Because remember last week...
I guess that's the question.
Last week we thought he was just, the Doctor's pet, his, or Dobby type of figure. But now I'm wondering if he's, Dolores Umbridge,
I don't think it's quite that extreme. I was thinking it was maybe more it's.
Those are two very different extremes.
I was thinking more like
Harry Potter, crossover thing. That's our two things.
Nah, I think probably it's he's the Doctor's assistant, but it's also he's there to keep him in check, right? Because clearly the Doctor will just go off. Because he can't help himself.
But in
so I
from
think
what?
He has.
That's my question.
Well, that's what we're gonna find out. They can't tell us in the second episode.
Well, I am impatient.
Clearly.
What is up? Why can't the Doctor be going where he want to go?
I really think that probably what's gonna happen is he's gonna lose track of time. Because clearly, we see at the end of the episode, he just ends up in another place and they're gonna have another adventure. So it's gonna be one of those things, and maybe he won't get back in time like he thinks he will, and then some shit's gonna go down, and then maybe that'll happen.
Well,
if it means that Nardole isn't in the majority of these episodes, I think that's a good way. It's a good direction to go, I think.
So shady. I'm kind of thinking of isn't that kind of what happened with Martha? And what happened with Rose? Remember, he took Rose, and then all of a sudden it was a year and a half later.
Well, yeah.
30 minutes. It happened with Amy.
They're holding to sort of tradition. Because it's just traditional of what happens is that every new companion starts out in the present. Every companion, their next episode has been in the future, and then their next episode 3, is in the past. So it's a cool, okay, this is just what the Doctor does. He has a a routine, I guess, to introduce people. And he asked her where she wanted to go. And she said future, but I think he would have accidentally taken her to the future anyway, just to keep with tradition.
Well, I was thinking, like, it's actually, I guess now what I'm thinking is it's the people who are prepared are more of the, they're not, like, that's, like, they're not the norm. So, like, when Donna decides to go, she is ready, hat box in hand. Like, she's not coming, like, there's no, I need to be back in 15 minutes.
But she had a
previous
But she'd met him before.
Yeah. I mean, Clark kind of had...
That makes the difference.
Clark kind of had a, like, let's go. She did say, like, you can get me back before my next class, right? You know, so there was that. But she was ready to just, like, keep going. And it was like, okay, I'll do this one.
All of season 5 with Amy takes place right, like, the night before her wedding.
Yeah. The night before her wedding.
Oh, yeah.
And it was supposed to be, like, one quick trip, right? I feel like that's what they said, though. But, like, with Donna, it wasn't one quick trip. She was like, let's go. Let's be out, you know? And, like, told her grandpa, like, look out in the sky for me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I think that is, like, kind of keeping within tradition is, like, oh, do you want to go one place? And then I'll, you know, I can go, what is it? I wrote it down in the quotes. Between here and my office before the kettle boils is everything that ever happened or ever will. Make your choice. And that's when he says past or future. But there is kind of like a... Yeah. We got to get back before the kettle boils so Nardole doesn't suspect anything. But this is, I think, also the first time that the person that has like a time limit is the doctor.
Yeah, and I think that's a good, like, change to things. Because Bill doesn't really have to be anywhere. Yeah. Like, I mean, she probably has a shift in the morning, but that's pretty much it. Like, she's there for her class with him. Or, like, tutoring or whatever. Yeah.
And, guys, I don't know if we've talked about this or if you know this yet, but I really love Bill. So...
I wasn't aware.
We may have spent an entire episode talking about it.
I don't know if I made this clear, but I really love her. She clocked him so many times, especially when she figured out, like, the whole, like, oh, you are the police type of, you are the helpline. Because he said something like, I forget what he said, but she was like, yeah, I was serving chips, and you came and took me, so...
You couldn't help yourself.
Yeah, right? Like, who we playing? Who you trying to kid? So it just kind of reminded me of what... I don't know if it was Bayana or Connie, because y'all... Allergies, and it was forever ago, and I was running off 3 hours of sleep. Or maybe both of you said it. Whatever. But one of y'all were like, it was a wrap when you decided to tutor her like y'all were going. You chose her... When she smiled in class, it was a wrap, right? And this was the episode...
I think that was Bayana.
And then this was the episode where Bill said, boy, it was a wrap when you chose to tutor me. I was serving chips, minding my own business. Come on now. Come on. So, yeah, I love Bill.
So I think we usually want to talk about the episode as a whole, and then we can get back into our Bill feels, because obviously we're gonna have them every week. So we gotta put them into a special section so that we don't go all over the place. Bill feels. So in this episode, Bill Bill gets to go to the future, past the sort of end of Earth, which is kind of a tradition. I saw this article online in Radio Times about how it kind of matches Amy's second episode, but it also matches Rose's in terms of, like, going to a future so far, but, like, dealing with the one of the subsets of humans that have left the Earth, and the companion sort of having to understand that, like, yeah, dude, Earth's over. Which sort of gets them all emotional, and then they're like, I'm so sad, and then the adventure continues, and then they're like, psych, I don't care about that no more.
Did they recycle? Did they go home and start recycling and get some, like, solar panels, or what?
No, you know that never happens. But then I also think
Excellent
that, like,
question.
eventually Earth will no longer want to fuck with humans in general, though, right? I mean, I don't know. Maybe the Doctor should just take the entire human race into the future real quick. There's probably enough space in the TARDIS. And then be like, hey, look, this is what's going to happen. Get your shit together. And then land back on and be like, all right, go live your lives. Be better. Do better.
Right. Well, the Earth is going to end. We are just really speeding that up. We're like, can we fast forward through the previews? And it's like, nah, let it run.
Like, / can we not?
Like, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah. I mean, I thought it also had,
I think
a couple...
But I've also seen a lot of, like, sci-fi, like, in the future, like, ideas of, like, okay, so if humans did all, like, be like, deuces Earth, the Earth was like, whew, finally, and then just fixes itself, which doesn't match with, like, actual scientific theory about blah, 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 but it's a cool thought of, like, well, not really in general, because I like it here, I don't want to go to space, thank you very much. Not without a TARDIS.
Nobody goes to space,
but
Connie. Everyone goes to a planet. Sorry.
You right.
Sorry.
That was a really good callback, though. I can't be mad. Though. It was a really good callback. But it's a cool thought of, like, okay, now that humans aren't on Earth, the Earth can just self-heal itself.
I mean, I think that both of those things can be true. I think that the Earth can self-heal itself.
Yeah.
But then in the course of how it should go, another millennia or whatever, when the sun explodes, then the Earth is gone. Like,
ooh, you know what they should do? So you remember the Silurians episode? Sorry, but, like, so you know how, like, they found the Silurians again, and the Silurians were like, this is our planet, what you doing, what the fuck? What if, like, the Doctor and Bill or a companion go, like, super far in the future and are on Earth, and it's, like, a totally different species living there, and then there's humans coming back, and they're like, okay, but this is our planet. I think that would be really lit.
oh.
Sorry. Hey, BBC, you should hire me.
Clearly we're starting Tarbis BSU now. Tarbis fanfic.
I'm going to write an episode of Doctor Who. I've got some ideas.
Tarbis fanfic is starting already.
I would be first in line for the whatever it's called when they show them in the theater. Come on, guys! God darn it!
Starts with the F.
Fathom event.
Fathom. I was going to say Phantom, and I knew that was wrong.
Fathom.
Yeah. Okay, so I also think that, like, this episode had a couple of other kind of small, and I don't think they were really nods. So this episode did kind of remind me a little bit of The Girl Who Waited in season 6, which I don't actually like that episode that much.
Remind me real quick what happens in that
bots, and they're, like, trying to cure the plague. I don't really like it that much.
Okay.
That's
and only,
the one where there's, like,
how about this? I like the episode, but the, like, trope of Amy being the girl who waited, I think they, like, beat it into the ground to the point by the time that episode comes up, I'm over it. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
But it's I think, like, as an episode, it's fine. It's good. Episodes. But, like, as a theme, it's annoying.
By that time, the theme had been overdone.
Yeah. So, like, the robots, though, they remind me of that.
Yes, you're right.
And, yeah, and just the whole, like...
Also kind of World War II... When we meet Jack and, like, the nano things.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, from Everybody Lives?
The empty child?
The empty child.
Yeah. Everybody lives, just this once.
Yeah. So, not everybody lives this time, but...
Nope. Well, I was thinking that the Vardy reminded me of the Vastra Narada from Forest of the Dead, because they literally, like, the Vastra Narada, like, ate them until they died, like, until they were skeletons, like, inside the spacesuits. And so I was like, are these the same? Are they related? They need to connect those two, because they also start with a V.
I really want the Vastra Narada to come back, but I don't.
No.
Terrifying.
No. Count your shadows.
But I want to see.
I love the Vastra Narada. Well, I just really love that episode. I kind of don't want them to come back just because I just want it to be, like...
scary.
I just want them to be, like... to stay in that episode, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just, like, nice and...
be, like, perfect,
yeah. Because, you know, sometimes they be trying to do too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I feel like that was the second time they brought back the angels.
I disagree with that, but I
yeah,
know.
I still like
I've gotten
almost
over
all
it,
of the
but
angel
I
episodes.
think, like...
lit.
But I understand what you're
But
saying
I
in
just
terms
feel like
of
they, like,
them
changed it. And I don't know, I feel like Blink was just really great. I love the angel episodes. I'm just saying, like, I do wish... I kind of love that, like, it just lives in that one space and time and it doesn't follow them.
Yeah.
Idea.
Yeah, me too.
So we're talking about this episode. One of the things that, like, well, two things, like the emoji bots and the fact that emoji haven't really changed in thousands of years. Kind of similar emojis. But I was wondering if it was also kind of like, and maybe we're giving them a little bit too much credit, but like a commentary on performing, like, because when you think of emojis, a lot of time it's used in like social media and like email and like or just like textual communication and not like face-to-face communication. So people tend to put on like their best and brightest selves.
Well, I think...
And I was saying, so the idea that like grief isn't understood by now I want to say Vastra, the party, because no one is really, you're not going to really like perform grief unless you're doing it for sympathy or something, but it's not one of those emoji type of emotions that you would see.
Well, I think...
And I don't know if that I felt like it was on purpose, but...
I think it was because the commentary that they made about, like, smiling was very kind of online like, it's a lot of, like, online articles that you read about how to, like, fake it till you make it and stuff like that. So the idea that if you are sad, and that obviously this is not, people have feelings about this, but the idea that if you don't feel right, you can smile, and smiling, I think there have been actual studies about it, of like, if you just pretend, like, put the smile on your face, that somehow triggers your brain to feel better.
To feel happier.
Or to feel happier, yeah. So I think there is a purposeful connection between those two ideas in terms of, like, having it happen in real life versus the digital expression of your emotions, and the ways in which they are different, and the ways in which you can pretend to smile and be happy when you're really not, and how that affects your both other people's perception of you, because the badge was behind their back so they couldn't even see it, but also how it's supposed to affect how you feel yourself. So I think it was all on purpose, but maybe not. I think a lot of it was the physical as opposed to the sort of technological component you brought into it.
Yeah, I mean, I think then when you talk about it that way, then is it problematic the way that they save everyone? It doesn't solve for complex emotions. I mean, I guess it does, because it just erases that programming that you have to be happy all the time.
And I think...
But it doesn't really deal...
Right, but I think that part of the problem from the first batch of people's standpoint might have been a smaller circle of people and not feeling sadness right away. And this group of people comes in with sadness. So the robots are going to understand it immediately, as opposed to, oh, this isn't a thing, they don't feel this way, and then suddenly they're hit with grief, and then they're like, wait, no, this isn't how it's been the last 3 weeks, and so that's why they were attacking. And so I think it's a sort of, I don't know, it reminds me of like antibodies, like the robots are antibodies, and they're like, the sadness is now part of the programming. Right? It's like a vaccine. It's like a vaccine or something, where it's like they introduce it early enough so that they don't attack you for it later. Oh, sorry, I'm really excited about that analogy.
The thing, though, that makes me feel a certain way about that is that, like, I don't know, I just kind of wish that there wasn't that. I wish that there was more of a like, one of my favorite Doctor Who episodes, and probably, like, I'm not, reinventing the wheel here, is Vincent and the Doctor, because I feel like there was, like, an understanding and a acknowledgement of the fact that you're not going to erase sadness or, like, not everything can be great for everyone, and you can have good moments and bad moments. And I think the whole, like, turning it off and turning it on again thing, while great and clever and, like, probably the only way they could, like, fix that, it doesn't really hit the point that they were making about just smile,
Well, I think
that there was...
Yeah, I think that, like, they tried... I think that there were moments where they tried to kind of, like, hit on that, and I don't think they really made it, and I get what you're saying. I thought that the moment where that robot gets, like, shot... Yeah. I thought that there was somehow going to be a moment where, like, the other robot... Because the other robot's standing there and seems a little confused and, like, what's going on. So I thought they were going to have the robot feel grief and then be like, oh, okay. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then have that understanding and then everything's cool. Which is still a little bit fucked up because it's like, now we have to kill one of yours to make you understand, like, how we feel or whatever. But that's where I thought it was going. And then it turned into something else. And I think that if it had gone that way, it might have hit that mark a little bit better.
Too, though, there is a difference between a natural death, so you don't feel anger, and someone getting shot, right?
Right.
So
exactly. So it's just like, it's,
I can see...
It wouldn't have totally lined up, but I think that, like, for what they were trying to say, like, I get what you're saying by resetting the robots, it's not like... You're not allowing them to understand what's going on.
But I think
I don't
think that they're erasing the problem, because I think that they're because the humans already feel grief, they now are starting over. So their programming is erased. So before, it was trying to say what we think they're trying to say, but I think they didn't spend long enough in the aftermath for them to really get the point across, in terms of before now the robots they will learn faster what grief is and won't see it as the enemy, because the humans are coming in with grief. They already have experienced this emotion, so it's one of the top initial emotions that they're being presented with, the robots. So before, it was like they were just happy. Yeah, so I think that they didn't illuminate the point towards the end, maybe as much as they could have, but I think that where we think they wanted to go is where they went. We just didn't see... The Doctor didn't really, like, finish the thought, maybe, because, I don't know.
Okay, so can we just talk 1 second, then, about how freaking dumb humans are when it comes to robots? Like, humans stop. We're bringing in a little bit of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Humans stay fucking up.
A little bit of S.H.I.E.L.D. here, but, like, your planet is dead, and you have to go start a whole new civilization, and you program the robots so that happiness is the thing? Happiness? Your planet died. You don't think there's going to be some sadness every once in a while? Like, you're starting a whole new colony in a whole new place. You don't think there's going to be some grief, some, like, remorse, some something?
I don't know, man.
Nope.
Welcome
and be happy.
I have a whole different issue with the awfulness of humanity in a similar vein, though. I realized when sort of rewatching and someone else...
And also they didn't want to do their own work.
Well, hold on. That's part of where my point was, is that I kind of noticed when someone was rewatching the episode and I was thinking about, like, oh, all the initial people, the gardeners, were women. And all of the people who wake up later are dudes. So I'm like, oh, okay. So the men were like, oh, we're going to have this team of women, because even in the beginning, like, the first three, like, characters who die were all women, and then they all, like, start the civilization, die, and then the dudes wake up and they're like, are just like, oh, I'm mad because you killed our family and let's go get guns and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, really? Really? Mm-hmm. And I couldn't tell if that was, like, bloke utopia, as Bill says, or if they were, like, subtly trying to, like, make a point of, like, women are always the ones who start civilization and blah, 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 blah. But I don't know if I can give the writers that much credit.
I mean, it could be them trying to write it. Yeah, it could also be them trying to write the whole, like, in the last episode where humans were being, like, super fucked up, it was the woman, it was in the Silurian episode, and she, like, killed what's her name? And then at midnight...
Ugh.
Well, I guess it was just all of them.
Yeah. Everybody on midnight. So. Nobody is exempt on midnight.
Nobody was except what's her name except for Merlin. With the glasses. I liked her.
And Merlin, the kid.
No, yeah, and the black girl. And the black girl who had to deal with that dumbass professor who's the worst. Right.
But I do think what you're saying, Connie, like, I didn't really catch that, but once she started talking about it, I'm like, oh, you right. What is interesting is that in this thousands of years above future, that gender roles still apply in the same kind of way. But then also that grief is kind of, I mean, it's not, but it's thought of as more of a, like, female emotion, you know? Like, just being emotional in general. Right. Because I don't know if you guys don't, but if anyone is listening to us, watches basketball, the basketball player Isaiah Thomas, his sister passed away, and he found out the day before their game. And he played that game because, like, what else are you going to do? And I got it. It was like, this is 2.5 hours where I don't have to think about this terrible thing that I just found out about, right? Mm-hmm. And people were saying, like, oh my God, he was so emotional on the sideline, it made me uncomfortable, like he shouldn't have played. Wow. And it's like, who are you to tell someone how to grieve, right?
And also, why can't we show grief?
This weekend, people are trash.
Yeah, it's why people are trash. But it was also, to me, it was one of those things where it was like seeing a man crying openly made you uncomfortable.
Yeah, the
because
of it.
Grief is not an acceptable thing for men to feel. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the kind of, like, only women feel sadness, or guys are supposed to toughen up, or whatever that is. Like, once you pass puberty, like, your best friend can get got by some, like, in front of you, and you're just supposed to, like, be okay. Right?
One lone thug tear, and that's it.
That's all you get.
That's all you're allowed. Just one.
Just one.
Which actually Bill showed one.
I think it's interesting.
Not even the Viola Davis snot bubble.
But Bill showed one thug snot. She had one thug tear. She saw that Earth died, and she had her one thug tear.
But, like,
damn,
the woman who was, like, when we opened the episode and telling her to come in, but smile, please smile, and is trying to explain, and has this, like, terrified smile on her face, and she was, and I think the woman who was like, why are you smelling like that? People don't smell like that. You look like you don't look right.
Right.
I think it's interesting that, like, I don't know, I'm thinking a band programmed those darn robots to think that that female emotion is, like, also the root of... Like, women have to go and build up the society because that's, like, a very womanly thing to, like, you know, be homemakers, right? That's basically what they're doing, is they're going to make a home.
Yeah.
And then, on the flip side, women are the root of all evil, and our dumb emotions get in the way, and then shit goes wrong. So I don't know how, like, as I'm talking about
I was going to shout out...
I don't know how I feel about this episode
I was going to shout out this episode for, like... Right. I was going to shout out this episode for, like, all the women of color who were up in here, but then, like, most of them died, like, in the first 5 minutes. So, there's that.
Right?
And then everybody gets out, and it's the white dude who keeps talking. I'm like, bro, who are you? Shut up. Go away.
They, like, put out...
What did he told the doctor to shut up? And I was like, who is you?
He did. There was this one bruh I don't think he had any lines, but... At least in the, like, angle I was at or whatever, he looked like Connor from How to Get Away with Murder for, like, 2 seconds. I was like, oh, you got a spot? No, that's not you? Okay. Yeah, that was super random. It was also early when I was watching it, so...
but I think that, going off the point of, like, showing the emotions, I think, the idea of women in grief is there, but also men in anger. and Men in Rage, because the dudes woke up immediately pressed. Like, they woke up and were like, oh, they got them? All right, let's go. Guns, immediately. And there was anger they couldn't get rid of.
The doctor explained what was happening and was like, this is what you have to do. And they're like, nah.
Well,
he tried.
Even one bro was like, told the doctor to shut up. And it's like, out of everyone, who looks like they know what's going on?
He didn't know what's going on, but he looked like he knew what was going on.
Up. Exactly.
Just walk away.
You don't need to know.
Just walk away purposefully, and they'll believe you have a plan, so they don't come up with their own.
Like, but you don't have a plan? No, that's not the point. Walk with purpose, Bill.
Walk with purpose. So good.
But I think, like, that part, too, is also, like, a toxic masculinity moment where it was, like, someone is trying to explain what's going on. Like, at the most, even if you do decide to go in guns blazing, go in with all of the information that you can.
Nope.
Right?
What's that?
Like,
no.
Right, like, they didn't even listen to the fact that the doctor had to tell him how many times that the building was the robot. Like, you're literally inside the robot and you're trying to shoot at it. Fam, like, he just told you that. And then when they reset, he had to tell him again. I'm like, dude, you're living in the robot. You can't then kick the robot out. Because then you don't have no place to
live. Right.
Just dumb.
Just sounds dumb. Familiar. Just, you want to attack people without all of the information? Maybe like the sit room. Anyway. Moving on.
Happy place. Happy place.
Moving on.
Even though, can we say Doctor Who is our happy place? Because Doctor Who is terrifying. I don't like this show.
I think it's
I do.
I don't like
I like it this season anyway. I like it this season anyway.
Why have I been watching this show for 10 years? And the people that have been watching since Classic Who, what is wrong with y'all?
Robin's always terrified, guys. Robin's always like, this episode is terrifying. And me and Bayana are like, it's actually really fun. What are you talking about?
That's what
it's terrifying.
Was all about. Balance the terror. You
gotta hide behind your couch.
And time.
Y'all don't tell me when the building went off sleep no more and went. You weren't like, So let's pause.
Time travel is lit, man.
I would have been.
I was like, oh shit, that's Brady, and then I moved on.
We could be traveling in time because what I would have done was like, oh shit, that's Brady. Let's get back in the TARDIS and go somewhere else. Oops.
There was a moment where they were like in the TARDIS, where they went to the TARDIS, and then he left her, and Bill was like, I
actually wrote that down. I was like,
damn. It was probably one of those moments where she's just like, damn, and like ran after him. Like, I can't.
So this is what I wrote in my. I know that
can't leave him.
We said that we were gonna get our Bill fills in later,
and now is the time.
It's time for drum roll.
Bill fills. Bill fills.
Bill fills.
Okay, so she says, I get someone has to do something, but why is it you? Can't you call the police or a helpline? And I was like, Bill is so black. And then she ran after him, and I was like, well, she half black. She almost black.
But you know
black-ish.
what?
Ish.
But you know what? I do think that's a black thing.
That
right?
Too.
Where you first are like, let's
survey.
It's the ride, and then think about it first. Explore all your options. Like we talked about on Wizard Team, where you're like, I'm with you, and then you're like, but do we really have to do this? And then when you find out, I gotta do this. Like, I can't just let him go in there by himself. And she's like, damn, and then runs after him. I think that's
legit.
Yeah. I want to say that, like, I also appreciate in the beginning when he asks future or past, that she says future with no hesitation. And then the, like, low key, when he asked why, I wanted them. I knew it wasn't going to happen. I wanted her to say because I'm black. But
she kind of had that in
her
voice.
But I think because I want to see if it's... But then she said, because I want to see if it's happy... I think that's the next best thing.
It's implied.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's implied.
Like, I want to see if it's happy. Like, it wasn't happy back then for me, right? So let's see about the future.
I know the past ain't happy, so let's see what we do in the future. I felt, though, that when she said past, like, the words...
You mean future?
No, future, yeah, sorry. The words she said were future, but the tone that she said it with was, bitch... I ain't going back no past. You see this here? You see what's going on here? That's what I heard. It was like that time that Connie said, clarified, but we all heard mansplain. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she said future, but what she said was, bitch, you crazy? I go back there. So...
And I love the idea that she's been, because they've established that she's a nerd and she like watches sci-fi, that she's thought about this a long time.
Right.
Like she was ready with her answer because it's the question we all ask ourselves as nerds, but also as Black people, of like, if a time traveler came to you and was like, where you want to go, past or future, you always know what your answer is. And hers was definitely future because Black.
Because Black. I also think that there was the other part where she said, like, I'm smelling, or no, she said, this is like when we're going back to her, like, her inquisitive nature, and he talked about having 2 hearts, and she was like, do you have really high blood pressure? And, like...
I love all her questions.
Right.
All of her questions make a lot of sense, and it's like, it's stuff that we either know the answer to or we just like don't think about because we've been with it for so we've been
but
in
also
here for
like
so long.
is it blood pressure or maybe it's cholesterol, but I feel like both. I think blood pressure is like a Black thing. Maybe it's cholesterol.
It's
I know
both.
It's one of those we have higher rates of.
It's both because heavy foods, but your cholesterol is up, but also like your pressure. Ooh, baby, my pressure's up. Ooh, baby, my pressure's up. I gotta go lay down. That's the thing.
Exactly.
So, yeah, you're
like
right.
Of all of the questions to ask about having 2 hearts, your blood pressure.
It's a good question though. Such a good question.
But
also, it really tripped her up, though. She was just like, hold up. Hold on. I'm sorry, you got how many hearts? And she was on that for at least a minute of like, no. And like, you could see the wheels turning in her head like, hold up, how in the world does this man, how does this man
have 2? And I love his answer. She was like, why 2? And he was like, why 1?
And she's like, oh, I can't really argue with that. She had nothing to say about that.
Right. So I kind of like that's kind of, it seems like that will be a thing. Like she'll throw a random question, but his answer will be like, you know, are you from space? Of course not. I'm from a planet. Why 2 hearts? Why 1? Like I feel like that's kind of their bantery-ness.
It's so good. It's so good.
Like I think like with Donna and Tin, it was a lot of like, oi, Martian and spaceman, and he would be like, I'm not a Martian, and like, or like, calm down on the flirting. Like he would call her out on like the like, really, do you need to at this point, right now? And she would call him out just for being a Martian, and I really like that dynamic because it seems very like friends rip on each other type of thing, but it also comes from a good place and a place of like wanting to learn more about each other. So that's what I got from that.
I am very much enjoying their dynamic, and it's very early, and the BBC may have already decided what they want to do with Bill post showrunner change, but like I just really need Bill to experience a regeneration because her questions would be top notch.
Right.
Would be top notch. So like I don't know how it's gonna be, and I think that whatever they decided, they may have already decided, and I'm suspecting a traditional clean slate. But if they do let us keep Bill, I'm excited because in addition to all the other reasons why, her questions would be on 100, and I really need to experience that in my life because her questions now are great, and then he's gonna change, and she's gonna be like, so you still got 2 hearts in now?
Dude, I just got really sad because
I'm like, why that face? Or like, why would you choose to have like whatever weird extremity on the face? I think we're
pretty sure she's.
Why would you want to know it's like that?
The doctor's gonna be a woman now, so that would also be interesting because Bill's a lesbian.
Are we?
I mean, he's like...
Because I feel like every week it changes in terms of like...
what he says. And he's not really making the decision. Is he
making the decision? No, but I'm talking about the rumors. I'm talking about the rumors in terms of regeneration. I feel like it keeps changing.
That's true.
Like I saw something a couple of days ago that said it was going to be Michaela Cole.
But then she said it wasn't.
Yeah, because I'm sure, because I'm like, I feel like people are just kind of like pulling shit. Like I saw some like fan casting of her, and then I saw another article that was like, Nerdist says that this is who's gonna be, and it's like, come on, we really don't know.
Yeah, I think the Michaela Cole thing was a fan cast that kind of got out of hand, and because people liked it, but like to me. I don't think it was never even in the realm of possibility. And then Michaela Cole tweeted, she was just like, "That's funny, guys." Right, but yeah, I think it's. There was a lot of rumor about some ginger guy from some show. That Robin immediately forgot. Robin immediately forgot about the cause, and she was just like, "Hold up, now he's a what?"
Yeah.
Apparently, at one point, they were gonna have the King of the North. That was like another rumor. They just have so many rumors. Yeah. I feel like I don't believe any of it until
I don't think Richard Mann would make a good doctor, but that's just me. I am all in on Raza Jaffrey or Alfred Enoch. Mostly Raza, but Raza already has a job, which is not a job that I like to watch.
Alfred.
Right. If it can't be...
But you know what I'm saying? Like, if Wes could regenerate as the doctor, after already he went to Hogwarts, then he moved to...
The U.S., went to law school.
Philadelphia, and shit didn't go well. Things didn't end well at all, and so...
They ended about as poorly as you could be, so let's
travel in time and space, you know?
I'm down for it.
Good look.
Yeah, I personally am thinking Raza Joffrey because I like a musical episode, and I just want to stare at his face as much as possible. And I don't like that show, Code Black. Like, I don't need a medical procedural, and then there's like 80,000 characters in there, and then you see him for like 5 minutes each show, and I'm just like, why am I here? I'm not here for none of y'all. I'm here for him. God. Anyway, I had
one more Bill Fields thing.
Oh, sure. I was going back to Bill Fields too. You first.
Okay, great. Okay. I needed to rewind it and I forgot to, but there was a moment where they were running through the spaceship and the doctor sees an Egyptian statue and he like moves it to a different place, and then when Bill's running through that same area, she sees it and she like stares at it longingly for like a full like 15 seconds or something. And I just wanted to point that out because it was like, look, she was like,
I noticed that.
I missed that.
And I was like, I'm curious as to what reason, like what their intent was behind that scene, because I mean, it's just a small thing that happens, but and it's something that could have naturally happened, and I'm not quite sure if it's, I mean, the doctor moves it, so it seems like it was a very purposeful thing, but I don't know if it was like in the script or if it was a thing between between Peter and Pearl, in terms of like something that you can do that's not scriptural but is like a physical action that they could take. So I don't, and that would make the difference between if it was a purposeful thing in terms of the writing of her character or if it was just a thing that the actors decided. But it was a thing that I noticed and made me heart eyes emoji at the screen.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely saw that and I was like, for some reason it felt like it was more than what it was, you know what I mean? Like,
but that's the thing, is like, are we looking too much into it?
Of all the things
like
that are in that room, and then she like stares at it for a minute, and I'm like, I didn't think it was gonna have any like anything to do with this episode. Same. But I was like, is this
something to watch out
Easter egg? Is this like a hint or a foreshadowing for something? Like
a bad wolf?
Yeah, it just felt like they spent a lot of like more time on it. Right, I was like, it felt like they spent a little bit more time on it than they needed to, or like then they would have if it was nothing, I guess.
Right.
I must have been having a sneezing fit because I missed that whole thing, and now I got to go back and watch it. So watch for it.
Yeah, because it's not. There's no dialogue, so if you're not like actually looking at the screen when it happens, it's easy to miss. And I think it's the top of the act. So like in the commercial breaks for the show, it was like the first scene or so. And so it's easy to miss it, but like Bayana was saying, if if it meant nothing, I think they would have spent a little less time on it, because in TV, like, time is of the essence. You can't waste time on something. So either it could come back, because I'm like, if they were going to spend less time on it, she could have, like, passed it and, like, it almost drops. She picks it up, puts it back, whatever. But instead, she's, like, looks at it, like, admiringly.
She has her hands on it, like,
yeah, with meaning, with purpose, with interest, I would say. So it was just like an interesting moment that I caught, and I was like, I wonder if this gonna come back later. I kind of hope so, but also if not, it's just a nice, like, she recognizes the statue's blackness and sees something in it that she connects with, and that's important to acknowledge in identifying her as explicitly black beyond just her external appearance.
Yeah. I want to go back, though, to something that you said about starting with the clean slate. And I'm feeling, like, conflicted because, like, in one hand, I really do like when that happens. I don't like when there's, like, I like when the companions see regeneration, but then they go their separate ways, really. I don't know. I don't really... But I don't want one season of Bill.
Well, I mean, you're preaching to the choir here.
So, but I don't think that, like...
I'm not...
I just feel like if Amy and Clara and Rose can get 2.5, 3 seasons, then...
And while I agree with that... The British are very traditional, and I think that I mean, someone was tweeting at me today, like, she didn't think that the show's gonna go that way because they don't want to alienate their very traditional, probably racist. They're very traditional or sexist if they had chosen to go the women route. In terms of the Doctor, anyway. And then the idea of, like, them changing showrunners, I really think that they're going to do the same thing with what they did with Moffat.
Controversial? Controversy?
No, just say controversial. Okay. Just say it
in the American way.
What are you trying to do?
I actually don't want a woman doctor. I don't like that. I mean, I love
Neither
Missy.
do I.
I love Missy.
Neither do I.
So but I don't really like
preaching to the choir.
Yeah, but I don't like the idea that you switch genders. I don't know why. It feels like your genes stay the same, right? Like, I could go for a trans doctor or something.
Or a trans Time Lord.
Right.
I don't know.
But I feel like if your genes are regenerating, they're just becoming new again. They're not changing per se.
But we don't know Time Lord biology, blah, 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 blah.
We don't. But I just also, like...
Honestly, like, I think for me, I haven't, like, thought too, like, deeply in terms of biology for the Doctors and regeneration. Mainly because they just do whatever the fuck they want in these shows. And, like, if it doesn't make sense, whatever. It's still lit. So, it's fine. But I do think, like, my main reason for not wanting a female doctor for the show is because if it is, it's going to be a white woman, and then they're going to be like, diversity, but it's not really diversity, and it's going to be just as white as it usually is. So I just don't care. If it's a white woman doctor, I don't give a fuck. If it's a doctor of color, then I'm excited.
Like, I want a
but
doctor
if not,
of color.
then
if it was a woman of color, I think I'd be more okay with it, but I still think...
I think that if it is a woman, it should be a woman of color.
That's not going to happen.
That's my whole...
That's not going to happen.
I know.
But
I'm not
like
even...
I said, like, I don't want to, like,
know.
take away from, like, Michelle Gomez, and I think she's amazing, but it always kind of bothered me, like, if your cells are regenerating and they're getting new, maybe I can understand, like, the change of appearance, right? But, like, a Y chromosome regenerates into a Y chromosome, don't it? Right? No?
I mean, it's like what you told me when I first started watching the show. Don't think about it
too hard.
Don't think about it too
That's
deeply.
true. Don't think about it too hard. I mean, that is how I go about this show a lot. But I kind of feel like that's one leap where I'm just like,
I don't know, man. If you can get through a reality bomb, I think
Did I get through the reality bomb?
do anything when it comes to this show. I don't know.
I never go back and watch that.
Did we?
I never go back and watch that. I'm like, oop, oh, Martha's back. Done.
My favorite is that Davos has the Darth Sidious yell. A reality bomb! And you're just like, dude, where's your lightsaber?
I was done when the master made him into that tiny person and Martha was going around talking about at 10 p.m. everybody say the doctor and everything go back to normal.
Oh my god. I was rewatching that season. I don't watch those. Whatever. I was rewatching that season and I was Martha's like, this is really heavy-handed.
No.
Martha's lit, but I was like, this God analogy is like...
Right?
I don't...
They're just hitting me in the face with it. My god.
Yeah, I don't rewatch those.
Yeah. that was Moffat. Like, we have had Moffat and RTD.
He didn't
and
do
I'll
that.
take Moffat over RTD day. All day, day. Because Moffat has never said,
I have
at 10 p.m. we all whisper...
I said the best RTD episodes were written by Moffat.
Yeah.
So there's also that.
There's that. Yeah.
I mean, he has his issues. I'm not like Moffat can do no wrong. All hell Moffat. I'm just saying he did not tell me if everybody whisper the doctor at 10:01, all this shit gonna just disappear. What the hell is that? That's not science. If everybody, hey guys, everybody. On Monday, April 24th at 3 p.m. Pacific time. Just think
Pacific
time. So 12 noon Eastern. What is it?
No.
6 p.m. Eastern. 5 p.m. Central. 6 Eastern, 5 Central.
Everybody listening to this, if y'all can just think really hard about Robin as a millionaire. Well, we get 1,000 air. I'll do 1,000 air, 100 air. Shoot, just give me some ducats. Everyone, listen to me. 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. Come on, guys.
It's not gonna work if you can't get the time zones
It's
down.
not gonna work.
Do it.
You don't know what time it is, so it ain't gonna work.
Let's do it again. 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 Central. Go to timeanddate.com and plug that in for whatever zone you're at. And just think real hard on Robin getting some money.
Oh my gosh.
Real hard. Think real hard on it.
Are you a Time Lord, though?
We'll see how much science goes into that.
We should wrap up. So quotes from the TARDIS. Let's do some
scary handsome genius from space. The doctor is a scary handsome genius from space. I love that line so much.
I love that too. Also, asking where the steering wheel was, and then also like the part where she's like,
follow up about why is it so.
She's like, are there seatbelts? Like, what do I do? Why are the chairs so far away from the console? Like, these are really good questions.
From the console?
And then he's like,
I questions are amazing.
Yeah, and then he says, you don't steer the TARDIS, you negotiate with it, which I really liked.
That's really good.
Like him, like explaining the TARDIS and like how she takes you where you should be, not where you necessarily want to go, which I feel like was a great nod to the Doctor's wife. And it's one of the best episodes.
Aww. Mm-hmm. That is such a great episode. I'm going back to Bill.
Side note, I met Neil Gaiman last week and I was wearing my TARDIS jacket.
How dare you?
He saw my Gallifrey patch and my Gallifreyan, it's a circle, it's an elbow patch, and I got it at WonderCon a couple weeks ago, and the lady who was manning the booth was not there, so it was some other person. And so Neil Gaiman asked me what it said, and the lady who ran the booth wasn't there, and so I think I meant to ask her, but the person who sold it to me was just taking her place, so I didn't think she knows. But Neil came and asked me what my patch and Gallifreyan said, and I didn't know, but he noticed that I was wearing a Doctor Who jacket.
Anyway, did he know?
Should have been like,
no.
Also, I'm mad at you. Also, you and your check mark life.
You should have made it up, Connie. You should have just been like, it means.
Oh well,
Harlem.
he told me.
I don't know, like get real, like. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? It means...
True, you're right.
means New
It
York.
means Connie.
Rep it.
Like,
That's what I was gonna say. It means Connie.
like it means Connie, Neil Gaiman. Here's my card. Like, I don't know.
Ugh. Would you call Neil Gaiman? I would. He'd be like, you can call me Neil. Okay, Neil Gaiman. You can call me Neil. Okay, sir, Mr. Neil Gaiman, sir. Just Neil. Yes, sir, Mr. Neil Gaiman, sir. I'm mad at you for that humble brag. Whatever that was.
But it was related to the show, so I said it. Whatever.
Was it?
It was.
You brought up the episode.
I'm sailing home 20 light years from home. Thanks for bringing me. I can't remember if anyone has ever thanked the doctor for traveling. Like
Rose
in that kind of way.
Kind of. Yeah, no. I think Rose said like,
there's
I
been
love
a lot of
traveling
like,
with
this
you.
is brilliant, or this is so great, but like she was like, thank you for like giving this to me.
Mm-hmm.
Which was just like,
and she was
a nice Black girl with good manners. Loved it.
And she was so geeked. Like her face when she said that,
was.
She was just like, it literally gave me joy. Because she was just
Right.
like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. Thank you. And I was just like, I'm with you, girl. I'm with you.
And then the shit got terrifying again. For no reason. Then they found all them bones. Okay, so then
true.
my other ones. Between here and my office, before the kettle boils, is everything that ever happened or ever will. Make your choice. She did it in the beginning, but it's still fire. And then my favorite, because this is like what I was talking about in our last episode, like when there's always a moment when the companion figures out who the doctor is. And I think that happened this episode. And he says, don't sentimentalize me. I don't just fly around helping people. And she goes, what are you doing right now? I happen to be passing by, so I'm mucking in. And then she goes back into like, but you tutored me though. But you, I don't think you are who you say you are, sir.
Thinking emoji.
Thinking emoji. I don't think you know who you be.
Can we also just talk
real
quick about the fact that the doctor's like default emoji was him like just skeptical? I really liked that. Like,
but with the attack eyebrows.
Yeah.
He was just like the eyebrows.
That was.
But I also think though that like I feel like I go through life skeptical. Like I feel like that would have been my emoji. If I could wear an emoji on my back, it would be the thinking emoji, to the skeptical emoji, to the eye roll emoji, and back again. It would just be those three on a loop.
Mine would be the upside down.
Just like, which I don't really understand that one, and we can take this offline. But I just don't get it. I mean, I know you like, use it when you're like, it's not special.
Yeah, or well, just like wonderful. If to me, it feels like
that's what the shrug is.
Shit's happening, and you're just like, all right, great.
Sometimes I imagine if I could turn my head upside down.
Right.
It's like,
see, that's what I thought. It was kind of like a dog. Like, you know, like, oh, Zelda did this to me the other day. Actually, she did it to Ami too. But I found out like when dogs tilt their heads like that, it's so they can better see your facial expressions. But Ami was messing with her. Shout out to Zelda, who was sick this weekend and had that little 4-year-old all up in her space and just took it like a champ. I kept being like, girl, if you don't leave my dog alone, because if she don't bite you, I'm about to bite you. I just want to see his tail. I got her tail. I was like, if you don't leave that sick puppy alone. And anyway, Ami was doing something with the flashlight and she just tilted her head like, who are you? What's going on here? Why are we doing this? Is there a point? Okay. Okay. Maybe that's what the upside down emoji is. Why are we here?
A little bit, yeah.
There's a lot of things.
All right, well, thank you guys so much for listening. Check out blackgirlscreate.org where you can read stuff from myself and Bayana and even Connie. She's got some great stuff on there. And you can also read Connie at the New York Daily News. She got that checkmark life, that verified life.
Connie's like, I've never
we'll stop doing that. We'll stop doing that at some point. Will we? Maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe not. When it stops. Also, speaking of brothers, shout out to Obasi Davis, aka Heru, aka because she said "oh brother" and then it Transitions.
I got it.
See? You see me? You see me? Okay. So shout out to Obasi, aka Hey Rue. He may have changed his name to Rue. I am not sure. Anyway, for the new theme song, shout out to him. So if you like the new theme song, you can follow him on Twitter at _heir, as in heir to the Iron Throne. OO _ So it's _HEIROO _. And then on SoundCloud, you can follow him at soundcloud.com/heir. Yeah, his music is kind of tight. And so shout out to him for making the theme for us and, allowing me to bug him about it all the time.
Yeah. Also, can I just say, like, quickly, it always freaks me out because sometimes I'll be, like, on SoundCloud and I'll be like, I'm listening to Obasi to just torture me. I mean, used to. But yet his music is good. So, yeah. Shout out to Aminata, who is a problem, but her little tiny squeaky voice, you can hear it at the end of the episode. Beginning of the episode?
Both of them.
You can follow her in like 12 years because 4-year-olds aren't allowed on Twitter.
No.
Or you can check out the hashtag Adventures with Ami team. Myself and I think her other siblings like to use that hashtag when we're having Adventures with Ami. There's some good ones in there from this morning. Like when she said, "You don't watch Queen Sugar." I was like, "You watch Queen Sugar?" Well, there are some parts that I wasn't allowed to see, but yeah, I watch it. You should watch it. I was like, okay, girl.
She's a grandma.
She is hilarious.
No,
I don't know where that stuff comes from. Follow us on Twitter at We Black and Nerds. You can follow Bayana at Yana, YANA _Hallows, like Deathly. You can follow me at Robin with the Y _Ravenclaw, like what I am. Ravenclaw.
Okay.
And Connie at Comstar24. Hashtag Tarbus. Talk about your feelings about the episode. And join our Slack, where there is a channel dedicated to conversations about Doctor Who. We gave you a lot of stuff to do. You can write it down.
Rewind.
We'll be here next week.
And then come back. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Rewind. That's a thing that you do. Be kind, rewind. Do you remember that?
Thanks for listening.
No?
You can join us next week when we discuss episode 3, Thin Ice, where the Doctor and Bill accidentally find themselves in Regency London, which means that we don't have to see Nardole again because they don't go to the president.
Hashtag
blessed.
Man.
Y'all are so mean to Nardole.
I'm sure he'll be fine next time you see him, but even the Doctor was annoyed, so I'm just...
He called him Mom, that's true.
All
right.
Thanks,
well, thank you guys, and we'll see you next week.
The black girls have the box.